guys, it's Michelle. So I feel like I just gotta rant a little bit, okay? Because I don't know why, but like lately, like I've really missed One Direction. Like if you didn't know, like I'm like a big ass One Direction fan, like for forever, like since like 2011. Like it was like they hella encompassed my life, man. Like I don't even know like what even happened the past couple years, but I miss them a lot. So basically, let's give you a little backstory here. So in 2011, when One Direction were on the X Factor, I was not watching the X Factor at the time. The only reason why I found out about them was everyone on Twitter like was just talking about them, like, oh my god, One Direction, oh my god, One Direction this. And at first, and this is really funny, and I have no idea why I remember this, but I remember thinking One Direction, like, why are they copying the new directions from Glee? Like, I don't know why, like, at that point, I was, like, a bigger Glee fan than I was a One Direction fan, but for some reason, when I thought that, I thought either A, someone copied New Directions, or B, that, like, people kept, like, mispronouncing it or something, so I ended up looking up what One Direction was. I didn't, like, immediately fall in love with them as, like, as much as I would as a fangirl, but I just, like, kind of, like, you know, they were still on the X Factor, so it was like towards the end, like maybe like December or something like that, so it was right towards the end. I didn't watch them like actually on the X Factor because it wasn't playing in the US at the time, but I watched like a couple of their like video diaries. I know you know what I mean, One Direction fans, when I say those fucking video diaries. But I watched them like before I had even listened to like a drop of them singing. I watched them like basically how they interacted with each other and like the jokes and stuff like that, and I fell in love with them purely on that alone. I ended up watching a couple of the X Factor performances, including their very first audition together as a band, and I was like, well, fuck it, bitch. I guess I'm about to sell my soul to this band. And it wasn't even like I was like hella young, like a little teenager or anything like that. I was 17. I was a senior in high school whenever I discovered One Direction, so I was like way older than the demographic that they were reaching to. But for some reason, because they were so similar in my age, and like I liked how like funny and like cheeky their jokes were, like they would make a lot of like, you know, like inappropriate jokes and stuff like that. I don't know, like I felt like it was fine. So then 2012 rolls around when they start like making their whole thing in America, and it's fucking chaos, man. Like I tried to get tickets to when they were coming when I was living in the Bay Area at the time, when they were coming to San Jose, and I could not get tickets. I would call the radio stations all the time they were running in contests. Like, listen this. Like this, oh, I still get war flashbacks when I think about this. The radio that I was at the time, the radio station, was doing caller 997 for these tickets, and I did that like for like 3 days straight. All I did was listen to busy tones, hang up, pick up, call again, trying to win the One Direction tickets, and it was like I was ready to die. Like as soon as like their first album came out, like I just started listening to them and I was like, okay, I fucking love this band. Like it's like not even like a joke anymore. Like I really fucking love this band. So years rolled around. I finally saw them for the first time in 2013. I saw them in a huge arena. I was in the very top section in the very back at the very last row, so pretty much the farthest possible that you could be from them. And yet I still had like one of the best nights of my life. I don't know why. Like it's still so crazy to me to like think about like that day and how I actually ended up getting to see them and me actually seeing them. Like it was like really a big deal for me. And then of course, like One Direction Twitter was like the craziest thing ever. Like we would all be up late at our different like time zones waiting for music videos to be released and albums to come out, and when there was like a crazy rumor, a crazy story, or like a meme trend or something like that, like One Direction Twitter was fucking fun. Like it was so much fun. Like if any of you guys remember that, like when we were all One Direction accounts at one point in our lives, and like the types of jokes and the hashtags and like the trends that we came up with was crazy. So they grew up and I grew up. I was in my 20s, I was in college, and I was like, it was still really weird to tell people that like I loved One Direction, because they'd be like, oh my god, like they're for kids, blah blah blah. Like no, they're not. They're literally the same age as me. Like how does that even make sense? They write songs about sex, they curse in their interviews, like that doesn't make any sense to me. There was such a huge stigma, like I don't even know if stigma is the right word, but like basically like if you said you were a One Direction fan, like that you didn't know what real music was like, or you're just like one of those crazy tweens that are obsessed over boys, like bitch, you can't be serious. Like they're fucking iconic and you can't even deny that. So the albums just got progressively better and more mature, and I finally got to see them again live in 2015 on their stadium tour where I had floor seats. The day that I found out I had floor seats to One Direction, I was ready to fucking die. Like, I'm not even kidding. I also am pretty sure that the vlog that I posted of that is still available on my channel, so I'll probably leave a link in the description if you ever want to watch that. I sometimes watch it back myself just to have a good cry. And this was, of course, after the fact that Zayn left, which there is also a reaction video of me the day that Zayn left the band that is so embarrassing and I have not watched since. I got to see them when they had their huge Jimmy Kimmel performance where they shut down Hollywood Boulevard. That was one of the craziest days of my life. Like, it was just so exhausting, but when it finally happened, it was so worth it. Like, I was so happy to be there and to like see them perform like the new songs from the newer album that I know I wouldn't get to see for a really long time. And then also a couple weeks after that, I went to the Triple Ho show in the Bay Area. Like, I literally like won tickets from my hometown station, even though I was living in LA, and I flew back home just for that, like just because I knew that was the last chance I was gonna see them perform live. And that was also incredibly worth it, I will say. So it's been a long time since One Direction has been fully together, and so many things individually with them have happened since, and it's just like unbelievable. Like, the first big thing that happened was Niall's song, This Town, which is honestly still his only song, and he's probably performed it about 10 billion times. But that was like the first big thing. I was like, whoa, like I did not expect Niall to be the first one to release a song. And then you had Louis, he became a dad, and then he had a song with Steve Aoki, which I really still love, like as a bop. And then you have Liam, he's working on new music, and he is a daddy. Like, oh my god, like whenever I found that, like that was really crazy to me that like both of them, like Louis and Liam, are both like dads. Like, that's unbelievable. And then, most recently, yesterday, Harry released his very first single, Sign of the Times, which was, like, really crazy. Like, it is so weird how different all of their individual music is currently sounding. Like, you have, like, Louis with more, like, the EDM, and then you have Niall with more of, like, the folksy, and then you have, like, Harry with, like, the alternative, and it's just, it's so cool to see, like, how they sound individually, but it makes me, like, miss them, like, even more. Oh, yeah, and also recently, I did, this hurts me that I did this, but I basically put a playlist of all 5 One Direction albums on one playlist, and I hit shuffle. Like, goddamn, like, do you know how hard it is to go from a song on Up All Night to a song in Made in the AM? Like, that shit is like 2 different universes right there. So if you want to really feel the feels on One Direction, do that. It'll change you. Like, honestly, I don't care how long it takes for them to do a reunion tour or do an album or something. My ass is about to be 35, front row in that fucking stadium, lit to What Makes You Beautiful. Like, I don't even care. They just, like, mean a lot. Like, and I'm not even about to get sappy and shit. Like, I just wanted to have this, like, moment to rant about how much I love One Direction and how much I miss them, and that my ass is gonna be ready the second that they come back together. If they ever do, which, I mean, I feel like I'm still hopeful that they will. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, I just wanted to rant about One Direction and how much I miss them, honestly. Let me know down in the comments if you were also a One Direction stan. Like, what was your favorite moment from the time that you were? I know that every now and again, sometimes there'll be like a hashtag, or like some of my friends will be talking about it. Like, the friends that I made through this band, like, it's really crazy. Like, the friends that I have known for years now, who I really would never have met or never have gotten to know if it wasn't for them. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. You can also follow all my social media links are down in the description. That is all I have for you guys this week. I hope you have an amazing day. I love you lots, and I will see you next time.